Hello, thanks for being in a new video. This time we have unboxing of the OPPO Find X8 Ultra. Let's get started. Regrettably, this particular device will not be officially distributed in Mexico, which means this is just a preview of what OPPO has to offer us. Now, we encourage you to leave your comments below so that OPPO understands our desire to have this device available in Mexico and other countries, not just limited to China. Now, let's take the time to get familiar with it because it's an incredibly brutal device specifically designed for the camera. So let's carefully take it out of its box and gradually, step by step, we will get to know all its specifications and features and discover what it can truly offer us. Right from the start, inside the box, we're going to discover an envelope containing paper slips meant to last a lifetime. Additionally, there's a case which, in this instance, is unfortunately just a plain case. Unlike previous generations where OPPO provided us with a design sleeve, it appears that this trend has now changed. I'm not a fan of how this very plain and transparent case looks, but it's important to consider that other manufacturers don't even provide an integrated case with their high-end devices. So while it may not be ideal, it is still something to appreciate. Compared to OPPO's previous offerings, this is a step back, but it's good news compared to other brands. Here's the situation. Soon, you'll share how you prefer to use the phone. Next, we'll meet the device directly, which is inside this small pouch. Let's take it out and see that it surely offers a very premium design. We'll start by taking off the sticker and focus solely on it. It's a device, really nice. It has transformed significantly from the previous generation. Now, observe how the last generation featured a design that was much less minimalist. Even the arrangement of its cameras was different, and now it appears much more symmetrical and elegant. Additionally, notice that it is not a camera module as large as the one we saw previously. It no longer protrudes in such an exaggerated manner. This means it has significantly refined its design. However, it will undoubtedly be able to maintain the excellent photography quality that we observed in the last generation. So, in terms of design, as you can see, it has undergone significant changes. The back cover is predominantly straight, but it features a very subtle curve at the edges, giving it a sleek appearance. The frames are also straight, and they feel exceptionally sturdy and of remarkably high quality. Here we are also going to discover a new button, along with another new button located on the right side. Now, let's go ahead and turn this device on while we take a look at what else is included in the box. It is already powering on, and as you notice, we are going to take off this protection. We then directly encounter a SuperBud charger, which in this instance is 100 watts. Next, we find the tool used to remove the tray. And finally, we see the charging cable. You'll notice that in this case, it is from USB-A to USB-C. Honestly, it seems like a charger that isn't very modern, and for some reason, they still insist on utilizing USB-A. I'm not really too thrilled about this decision, but hey, let's take a look at what's included in the box here. So before we wrap everything up, please let me know how you would use this device without a case. Do you think it looks quite clean with this matte finish in the white color option, even though it's also available in black and pink? Or would you prefer to use it with a case, which adds protection but also introduces these reflections that, at least to me, are somewhat annoying? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I believe you probably already guessed correctly that I would choose to use it without a case, so let's just keep it here for now. I already have the device set up here, allowing us to get a much more detailed approximation of the specifications it will be able to provide. The device boasts a thickness of 8.78 millimeters and weighs 226 grams. As an excellent Ultra model, it does not prioritize making sacrifices or compromises to achieve a thinner and lighter design. This is something I appreciate, as it results in a device that feels extremely premium and very solid when held in hand. When it comes to water resistance, this device is remarkably high, as it reaches up to IP69. Furthermore, the manufacturer has even included an underwater photography mode, allowing you to perform actions with the buttons while submerged. Therefore, it is evident that this device provides excellent resistance. Moreover, on the front side, it features a special glass design by OPPO, which also ensures a high level of protection against any potential drops or falls. By the way, the screen measures 6.82 inches, which makes it quite large, featuring a very high resolution of 3168 by 1440 pixels. This results in a pixel density of 510, making it simply extraordinary. It will of course be an AMOLED display, which in this particular case will not. It provides a peak brightness of 1600 nits, which is an extremely high, and it offers us a refresh rate of 144 Hz. Therefore, where it might fall slightly short is in the peak brightness. However, in all other aspects, it will be a very good screen. Regarding the sound, we will have two speakers, one located at the bottom and another at the top, specifically for the headset used during calls. and also providing an output for the frame. Initially, the sound quality seems very good, though it may not be extremely powerful. It is indeed of very high quality. The front camera boasts 32 megapixels and features an f2.4 aperture, with autofocus included. This camera offers a good level of amplitude, being exactly 21 millimeters in equivalent focal length. Here, the preview result looks poor, but the processed image turns out great. The detail level, light and shadow balance, and color are all excellent. On the back, there's an advanced system. It includes a 15mm ultra wide-angle camera with a 50 megapixel sensor, f2 aperture, and autofocus. Next up, you'll find the main camera, which boasts 50 megapixels and features an aperture of f1.8. It also includes autofocus and 2-axis optical stabilization. Following that, there is the first telephoto camera, which in this instance also offers 50 megapixels and comes with an aperture of f2.1. And it has a focal length that is equivalent to 70 millimeters, which means it offers 310 optical zoom. Finally, the second telephoto camera in this instance is a 50 megapixel periscope with an f aperture of 3.2 and a focal length equivalent to 135 millimeters. This means it repeats the formula with 610 optical zoom, and it also includes optical stabilization. And, well, it also features what OPPO refers to as a 2 megapixel Dangxia color sensor, which is designed to enhance the accuracy of color rendition. As usual, our table serves as the best example of this color rendition, which is indeed quite impressive, but let's delve into the results and see how it performs. Here you are observing the ultra-wide camera, and it certainly appears very impressive. Although it may not be the widest option available on the market, it definitely offers a very high quality. Then we have the main camera, which once again delivers very good quality with excellent contrast. Following that, the 47mm crop inside the sensor maintains the optical quality, providing very good results as well. Next, we examine the 70mm photograph, taken with a specific lens designed for this purpose on this device. Afterward, we transition to the second telephoto camera, the 135mm, which looks absolutely spectacular in these well-lit environments. Now you are viewing the 300mm perspective, which OPPO provides as a preset and quick shortcut. It is equivalent to a digital zoom of approximately 13.4x. The result is quite spectacular. However, even with the 688mm perspective, which corresponds to a 30x zoom, it still looks amazing. This is generally the maximum distance you would typically use in real-life situations. The photograph appears ultra-detailed with excellent quality, but of course, it allows us to extend even further. Here is the 60 times zoom photo using AI to enhance details. And the maximum you can achieve is 120x. What you are observing is the outcome of photography. I believe some details appear slightly artificial, yet overall it undeniably provides an incredible quality. Regarding video recording, we can achieve 4K capabilities at a maximum of 120 frames per second. Although in this situation, the ultra-wide camera is not enabled. And for the front camera, we also have 4K resolution available at 60 frames per second. Here is a brief and quick test clip showcasing the quality that this camera offers. In this particular case, the sun was shining directly in front, which caused some somewhat annoying reflections. However, if we move to a different area, we can appreciate the good quality much better. In this video recording, I really like that the transition between all of its lenses is excellent. The switch is very natural. You do not notice any sudden change in position or anything similar. In this case, video recording provides a maximum zoom of 30x, which, I emphasize, is the most you typically use in real life, and it looks excellent. It will definitely be a strong contender for the best camera of the year. The battery offers us a capacity of 6100 mAh, having a relatively competitive capacity despite the fact that it needs to be tested since it doesn't always equate to excellent autonomy. Additionally, it supports 100 watts charging, which also requires testing because sometimes we might observe that other devices fail to fully utilize its power. Furthermore, it supports wireless charging as well as reverse wireless charging, which is expected from any high-end device. Interestingly, in this case, the wireless charging it supports is 50 watts, and as you can see, it provides us with a shortcut button in a style very similar to the iPhones. Here, you can choose which tool will be executed. Interestingly, it appears that it will only offer us a single touch option, in a style reminiscent of the iPhone, rather than providing us with more flexibility by allowing for 2 or 3 touches. And additionally, on the right side, we also have, it allows direct access to the camera, although in this instance, it isn't a button you physically press, it resembles more of a touch button. However, it will still provide access to the zoom control and, naturally, the ability to take pictures. Nonetheless, I find it somewhat unnecessary, as you can quickly and easily control the zoom here and then capture the photo. But In some way, it has joined the trend of live. By the way, it also integrates a fingerprint reader within the ultrasonic screen, which makes it significantly faster and eliminates the need for it emits a very intense light. Additionally, it comes equipped with ColorOS 15, which is based on Android 15. However, since this isn't a global version, it would come with software from China. That's the reason you notice several preloaded applications from China. But what I find most interesting and what I really like the most, one thing about the Chinese versions is that Google isn't everywhere like in other places, and I really wish OPPO would use this globally. For instance, in this scenario, instead of encountering Gemini and the entire Google suite, with a better implementation system-wide, notice the nice animation during AI screen analysis. However, in the full review, I provide more details about the content and the artificial intelligence tools that we might discover in this device. Additionally, we explore OPPO's proprietary cloud service name, Cloud, which in the international versions is substituted by Google Drive and all of Google's proprietary services. This is the reason why I emphasize that I personally prefer OPPO's approach of gaining more independence from Google. OPPO has the potential to stand on its own, yet for reasons unknown, it hasn't ventured to take that risk on a global scale. Finally, the cell phone is equipped with 512 GB of storage and 16 GB of physical RAM, with option to expand it through virtual RAM. The processor is the Snapdragon 8 Elite, which as we know is a super powerful processor. For those who are more technically inclined, here are the figures it provided us. In Geekbench, with a single core, it reached 2,895 points, which is simply brutal, and in multi-core, it achieved 9,134 points. In Antutu, it achieved a score of 20,657,476 points. This is raw power, and it demonstrates the capability of this device. It is definitely super complete and an excellent example of the premium range. Unfortunately, it does not have official distribution in many countries and remains limited to China. For now, this has been all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Soon, we will have the full video review. If you like this video, you know you can indicate it, and we will see you next time.